Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Leopard King Mike L. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. It is February 26th. I always have to look because I just forget. 2023 for the math geeks. This is a good one. And it's let's do it this way. There's 2, 2, and 6, and you got 2, 2, and 3. So let's do 2 times 3 is 6 on one side. 2 divided by 6 on the other, and then multiply them both by 2. You get 6s on both sides. That's something entertaining if you have a really odd brain. Joining me as always, the man who puts the O in Ocean State Paranormal, Buddy Money Fair. What's up, buddy?
Good evening, Mike. That was a hell of an intro. I was not expecting that. It made me giggle a little bit. I do put the O in Ocean State Paranormal.
You know what, though?
Paranormal investigative team based out of Rhode Island.
I've written down so many different ways to say O. Like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do a different one every week because I can, like,
Right.
I can't wait to do this.
Your O face, yes.
Oh, I can't wait to do this.
Mike, I am making a hell of an O face this week. I stopped by, no, not the Black Dog Tavern, that's in Martha's Vineyard, but I stopped by a local brewery the other day, and I did so with special intent. Yep. I started a new job this past week at with Thrive Behavioral Health, and the name of the group home that I'm working in is called the Buttonwoods House. What more appropriate than stopping by Buttonwoods Brewery right there in Cranston, Rhode Island, and picking up Cool Arcade? It's a double IPA. It's there it is. It's Manon. It's 8.3% alcohol by volume. Oh, I'm a little blurry for this one.
Is it made by the hospital?
I will be after 4 of these. It's made with Mosaic, Citra hops, and Roku hops. It's very, it's very soft mouthfeel. Hold on.
Yeah, but is it made by the hospital?
But no, Buttonwoods. No, it's not made by the group that I work for. No, but it's got the same name. And I thought it'd be appropriate to drink the beer. So
no, that makes sense.
It's a big cheers to Thrive Behavioral Health for picking up my incredible services.
Yeah. I would call your services actually incredible. Would you like to do the introduction now?
I would love to do the introduction this week. We are not joined by Joey Paranocho. However, we have on a tremendous guest. He's a two-timer, returning guest to Legit Paranormal Podcast. Author, religious demonologist. What else does he do?
UFOologist.
Might be a UFOologist.
Yes, he
is. His name might be Nathaniel Gillis. Welcome back to the show, Nathaniel.
Thank you, King Mike L and Buddy, and hello to everybody that's tuning in. I'm glad to be a part of the two-timer club, man.
Yeah, right.
I'm feeling pretty special right now, but it's an honor to be back with you guys.
No, it's definitely fun to have you back, and that's actually one of the better intros that Buddy does because that was like. You got the name. You got that, right?
Yeah.
That you got the name. That's usually a thing.
So that's good. So I got to start with this because man, this is my favorite thing. Like, really in life, does somebody hit you like a lob over the tennis net, and you get to come running up on it and hit it with insane force and just like smash it out of the thing? So this is from Nathaniel's, I guess Instagram, something like that. Someone wrote, there's a UFOologist, demonologist who, and this, I hate this word, espoused the theory. He got to pick so many other words than that word, but that was an intelligent word. That's the truth on that one, right? Yeah. Who espoused the theory and gets flack for it. I'll look him up. And then the guy wrote, ETA Nathaniel Gillis, right? Now, they say that. There's different ways you can come back at that. I personally, my immediate reaction was curse words, and I'm like, that's not the way you could play it. So I'm out. Like, I'd be tagged out. This guy below us, buddy, he writes 3 words for his first sentence. Never forget it.
Yep.
There you go.
That dude, that was a lob that you came up and were like, smash
that.
Why not, man? I take enough heat for the theory, so I might as well own it.
Like, but that whole, like, he gets flack for it. Like, oh boy, you know what I mean? Like that alone, yeah. I would the thesaurus would win. Like just saying that, like just someone saying that, like you get flack. That's not even a strong like term for like getting like bad press or like really getting hate. Flack is
Mhm.
no big deal, right?
I didn't think it was, but hey, I got credit for something. I'm gonna own it. Yeah.
But I would think that it's just great knowing that your name was attached to that. Like that they had to look you up, right?
Yeah, I liked it. But what's so funny is though, the funniest part about it, the reason I posted it is I didn't espouse that theory. I did a show of mine where I was talking about the CE5 movement and how that even when we're playing with Ouija boards, we can't really trust the information we're receiving. We don't know who's on the other side telling us what we're being told. And so I kind of compared that to the CE5 movement, and someone said, "Hey, guess he's talking. Guess he's talking about contacting aliens with Ouija boards." So at least they're getting the information. It might not be coming out as clearly as I want it to come out, but hey, man, I'll take it. But I have been getting flack for that, specifically on different shows, which we could talk about off air. But yeah, of course I have, especially from the field of ufology. I mean, they don't want that. Yeah.
Flack in the sense of like they go after you, like they have you on a show and then they go after you and challenge you. Like setup?
No, not to my face. But in the message boards and on Twitter and stuff, I think it's funny. But more or less, I put that up there because it was kind of a recognition that somebody out there is at least listening. You know what I mean? They're picking up what I'm putting down. That's what I'm really happy about.
Buddy, if you say something, right, and then people eventually like I don't know, like in other words, the flack that he's getting for saying what he said, that's good. That's good press, right?
Right. Of course.
I like it.
Overall, it's like you remember there was a team called the Raiders, right? Or how about the Pistons out of Detroit back in like the 90s, right? The thing is, you could call them what you want. You can call them all the bad names you want. But if they're doing something that's winning, or they're doing something that's right, or they're saying something that, hey, why don't you listen to this? Or why don't you just check this side of it out? People don't want to hear that sometimes, man. It shakes their little world up. And
that's okay. I mean, once you've done so many shows like I had, you get a lot of heat for a lot of just stupid stuff sometimes, stuff that I would never even pay attention to. But I think that more than anything, I wanted to post that because, like I said, man, it's nice for somebody to actually capture what you're saying, even if they get some of it wrong. Somebody's like, dude, this guy came up with it, or this guy's talking about it, and I like it. And I've whatever, I enjoy it.
Dude, there was I remember we had a write up. I was in a band that we had a write up in a different country. I want to say it was like the Russian or China. Literally, it was either Russia or Chinese. And I know that sounds like I'm just playing with the news, but it literally was one of those two countries that did a write up of us on a website where they made up like a history of like the band I was in. I read stuff and I was like, oh, really? Wow, that's awesome. Like, I didn't know I grew up in Italy. Like, oh my God, that's fantastic. I wish I did.
You learned something about yourself, bud. You were like,
yeah. No, I mean, seriously, I read. I was like, oh. Because I guess they were trying to say that I was Italian or whatever, but I grew up in Italy, basically. And I was like, that's fantastic. That's the best news I ever heard.
Yeah.
Here's something you wrote on also that I'm going to bring up. And this is one of my things that changing someone's mind or changing someone's belief. Now, do you know how open the person has to be to have their mind changed? First off, because you know how hard it is nowadays to change someone's mind or belief? Like, explain that. Because I love that post.
I don't know what I wrote it on. Was that something I wrote or?
Yeah, but you captured a picture of it, put it up. It was something about changing someone's beliefs is like the greatest.
See, okay, so I grew up in Christianity, and it was a very strict sect of Christianity, and so their version of demonology is something that I unfortunately inherited when I first got into the field, and so there were certain moments in my research where I had to expand my paradigm, and I had to learn more and accept the truth of the data. And I had to change my beliefs. Meaning either we're going to believe in the data or we're just going to project our beliefs on the data and just say none of it matters.
Yep.
Which I've talked to people who do that, and I can only get so far with the research with them because they will not accept anything outside of their dogma. But it took a while for me to do that, man. And so I guess I do have a respect for certain individuals who even against their own self-interest, you know what I mean? Even if it makes them unpopular for a fleeting moment, they say, at least with the data, maybe I've got to grow out of some things. And I've had to do that in my own research. So
See, I think, all right, here's two things. I think it's hard to change someone's opinion, at least that word opinion, on social media, because but when people take an opinion, they put their feet in cement. But secondly, I'll tell you this. I was talking to, I forget who and this isn't me covering the person, but I really forget who I was talking to, but we were discussing different guests that were coming up. And we're talking about people that we get along with, or that we've had before, that we understand. And it I would back up what you say, because we've talked off camera. I believe you as a person. So it's we're the type of show that if anything, we sometimes get in trouble for being too loyal and you know what I mean, going down with the ship. Because I'm not afraid to go down this. You know what it is, buddy? We're like wild cards. At any minute, we might pull the van doors open, just jump out of the van, and no one knows. So it's wild card. I want to say the word B, but I can't say it. Buddy, what's your first question?
Oh my God. All right. So you being a demonologist, this comes to mind as someone who's a paranormal investigator. This is just things that I hear all the time. So if you get for example, a little girl on your recording, and there's no known history of any child in that area. A lot of people are saying nowadays that that's not in fact a little girl, that's a demon posing as a little girl. How much are they around that much? I was always brought up in the paranormal world to believe that demons are so rare, and now it seems like UFOs and cryptids, everything's getting stamped demon. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that we have yet to even define what a demon is, and people ask me what a demonologist is. I became a demonologist when I got on Coast to Coast. That's what they wanted me to label me as, because my research was so wide and stuff. I covered so many aspects of the phenomenon that the only way they could slot me on the show was, hey, you got to be a demonologist. So while my research is centered around that, obviously it's diverse, and I like to diversify it. The phenomenon is profound. It's everywhere. But I think, Keem, were you talking about, was somebody trying to debunk me? Was that what you were trying to say? So you mentioned my name and they were like, who's that guy? That guy's a bum.
Yeah, no, it's just it's not debunked, but some people and I know they must say it about us. That's the thing that cracks me up. It's you're being told something about someone else that that they must say about you. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's just that's kind of how we are. We're a little bit different than everybody else, but whatever. No. I was gonna say, it was just something along the lines of who's this, who's that, who's that. Oh, and then it was I know this person. Oh, I don't know this person. Oh, yeah, and I'm always I give my honest opinion when someone asks me about somebody. That's just the truth. Maybe to a fault. And I was no, yeah, I know. Blah, blah, blah. I was just saying, yeah, I remember him. He was really good. No, we get along well. He likes Italian food. He likes Federal Hill.
Yeah.
You actually were going to say that the thing about the child being a demon, you would say case by case. That's what would be your answer. And then also what I want, right? Somewhat.
It was. But I think I'm basing that. I guess that question is based off of what I encountered as a kid.
Yes.
Right, and it was in fact a demon. Not that that's every case, but that's where my foundation originated with that.
So now, the whole alien thing. That's first of all, let's start with what's basically going on, and I'll ask you this. I speak for the dumb. What's going on with all the balloons and things they keep finding in the sky? In your opinion, you can say cover up. You can say whatever you want. What do you think?
Well, they can cover up our own technology. They can cover up alien technology. So their cover up is occurring. But I think that, I think that it's interesting. I think that I do not believe the line that because we adjusted the sensitivity of our radar, suddenly these things showed up. I think that's a line of just they're feeding us manure at that point. I do know a person that's former DARPA, and he's told me even before we realized these were Chinese drones swarming our ships, he told us that. He got flack again from the field of ufology. They're like, okay, whatever, they're UFOs. It turned out to be drones from our enemies and our rivals. So I don't know what we've shot down. I do know that according to their testimony, it's the first time in 65 years we've shot anything down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they are. I know what they're telling Marco Rubio. I know what they're telling. I think it was Sidney Blumenthal or one of the Blumenthals. But then again, maybe they're being lied to. I don't know.
You notice how they lean on the UFO thing, like
Yeah.
uncharacteristically, like they never bring that stuff up. So to just say UFO is a way to I felt like to deflect me. Like
Right.
I'm more worried that I said this before, buddy. We said this a long time ago. We were more worried if they would be like Chinese, like those TikTok videos. We were saying, what would scare you more, if it was UFOs or if it was like Chinese or Russian like technology that could do that? And we both said it would be like more Russian and Chinese technology because
Oh yeah.
the UFO things is like, ooh, we don't know what's going to be. Could they be friendly? Could they not be? But we know if they're just drones with the capabilities to do this stuff. Like that's scary, dude. 200 miles per hour. One of them was going. Like they couldn't. That's how fast it was going.
And one of our, I think it was in the Baltic Sea, but one of our aircraft carriers was swarmed by, quote, hundreds of them. I mean, you can't do nothing with that, man. I mean, it's like, well, okay, here we go.
All right, buddy, your theory on why they all popped up as we like started to close airspace like, suddenly?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because of media, maybe because of attention, maybe because the internet connects everybody these days. I can't tell you there are organizations right here, Mike, in our own home state of Rhode Island, where they are investigating the safety of airlines amongst UAPs in the air, and that people that I know are writing grants for research to be done by this. And such grants are one of the projects that I know of is being headed by a former Navy pilot who had interactions with these UAPs in the air. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal that this stuff is all around us. It is just not a lot of attention paid to it because I don't know. Maybe they don't want us to know. Maybe not a lot of. Maybe there's not an interest. I think there's an interest, but these programs are all around us. I think just maybe a little bit more. We are able to enlighten ourselves a little bit more on the existence of a lot of these programs and whatnot.
Nathaniel, what do you think?
Kind of be shocked. You know?
Like, what do you think, Nathaniel? Do you think they're like drones? Like, what does your gut tell you? Quite honestly.
I think that I'm hearing a lot of things. I'm hearing a lot of John Ramirez is saying that these things are that the government has given him an official debriefing about how they're going to show up in 2027. That's John Ramirez, though. He's former CIA, but then again, I mean, one thing that my buddy Jeff Kingsbury, former DARPA, the guy I was referring to earlier, he's like, look, there's a lot of our adversarial technology out there that we know they're on the radar. And his theory, if it wasn't a fear, it was a theory, maybe even be both. Maybe he's fearful. But he said, a lot of times our government, if it doesn't want to tell the public that it's an adversary that's invading our airspace, it'll blame it on UFOs. We don't know what it is. Well, we do. We just don't want to admit to it. Because if we admit publicly that these people have not been following nuclear treaties, that they have been kind of overtaking us in their tech, makes us look bad, makes us look weak, and we don't want to do that in the public eye. The third theory, which is, and I don't want to believe this. I don't. I mean, what if these things are unidentified? I mean, the one thing that I think was in Alaska somewhere, they shut it down. They said they had they said they had no identifiable propulsion system, but it's floating 60,000 feet in the air. What the heck is that? I mean, if our adversaries do have that technology, we've got a problem because they've been putting these things over our nuclear silos. So I don't know what to think, honestly. I don't know. I would like to think goes back to that argument. Do I want it to be China or Russia, or do I want it to be ET?
Yeah. No, you know what? Hey, that's an easy one for me. That's the problem I guess I have.
Yep.
Like, I'd rather have it be ET. I'd rather deal with that whole thing because let's see where that goes. Because quite honestly, I don't like the idea of where if it's, another country, where that goes. That's just not going to go well. This, especially,
Yeah, I know.
especially with, like, you got to understand, again, I guess, our world, right? During an election year that's coming up, everyone's going to lose their shiznizzle on either side of the debate. I'll be in the middle in my little hut with a blanket over me, waiting for it to be over because I can't stand it. But when that all goes down, like, stuff like this is going to be like a big deal. It's going to be talked about. Like, we got to stop all these things in our airspace, and it's going to escalate, and they're going to really realize. I mean, for them to say they didn't know that there's stuff in the air, I find that hard to believe. Like
Right,
for them to
right.
act like all this stuff just popped up, that's the thing that I'm stuck on. Like, come on. They know what I say on the phone to Buddy at like 3:30 in the morning. I know they know this. Buddy, you know they know this.
Of course they know this, Mike. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I think they know like already that there's stuff in the sky. Why bring it up now? And everyone they're like, ooh, it's a different shape. Or oh, we found one that landed, but there's no parts. Like, huh?
It sounds like game theory. I mean, it really does. I mean, we're telling our adversaries we adjusted our sensitivity on our radars. I mean, it does sound like we're talking to them, but we're talking at the public. You know, we're going to talk to the public, but we're truly just trying to show them, hey, listen, we see what you're doing. But I don't know, man. I don't like what I'm seeing. I mean, okay, let's take their word for it. Let's say we did adjust our radars, and all of a sudden, what we see things now we haven't seen before. Does that mean that's not a good feeling? I mean, 65 years of being invaded by whatever these are,
right?
Makes no sense.
No, yeah. To say that like we're the first administration, or this is the first time that we've identified or located these objects, it's like, then what the hell have we been doing? It's 2023. Come on now, what have we been doing? No one's been looking up. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's scary.
That's you know what though? That's easy though, dude. I'll be honest. You don't believe that. I can't believe that they've never seen anything, or this is new. I mean, I can't believe that these are all brand new.
1946, a spacecraft crashed into Arizona. It was all in the papers, and then suddenly, bam, it all disappeared because they don't. Right? I mean, which is kind of good. You don't want the world to erupt in chaos, but I mean. It was there, and then it wasn't, and then there's been a big hush for, like you say, like what, 65 years now. They got to know. They got to know more than that. Yeah, like the Kennedy assassination. There's way more to it than what they're saying. You know.
But you're really going conspiracy wise. What I'm saying though is like with this whole thing, you know, come on, like you don't just see all this stuff all of a sudden and put it on CNN and Fox. Like, you know what I mean? Come on, man. That's like a dog with a ball, you know. It's like and it's like hey, you know, throw it. It's like dude, whatever. So I mean, what are you worried about most?
Of our enemies.
What are you worried about most? Come on, what bothers
I think what bothers me again is that it's sending smoke signals to our adversaries. You know, it's almost like we got caught with our pants down and we're trying to you know, play plausible deniability or give some kind of made up story that fits the narrative. There's only two options here. Well, three, but two that make sense to me. I mean, first of all, the Chinese balloon was over Montana. The government claims that they shot it down and that there have been other balloons over our airspace. Why? It's just it does. Yeah.
I'm gonna add the third theory that I have because you know whatever. This is just how I think. All right, so they have us thinking firmly that it's either the UFO or foreign country surveillance. That's literally what they have. Or research.
Research has been put out there too. Yeah.
But that's what they have us think. They have yet to bring to the table that it might be us flying these things around, gathering information on us, the people.
Yeah.
Why that's never been mentioned, I don't know. But like that's what bothers me most. What if it's them just gathering and picking out, figuring out more ways to control us or watch on us? And then just say, hey, this is from this is just from another country. We shot it down, or it's UFOs, blah, blah. They keep mentioning both. But they never once say that it might be like some kid's like thing that flew too high, or that it might be the U.S. Bay that might have made it.
Good point. I think it's worth considering that the rocket or the missile they fired was worth $400,000.
Yep.
God.
You gotta get rid of it.
I know. It's like wait a minute, wait a hot moment. Let's figure this out. None of it makes any sense to me. I think that either way we look weak. Yeah. And that's what I don't, you know, may they be who they are. It just makes me feel bad for the country, man.
A $400,000 rocket is a hot potato. Like, in other words, if you want to get another one built and keep people working and they keep the whole every year getting funded, you got to get rid of it eventually, buddy. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? How many missiles are you gonna keep at your house, buddy?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, it was whatever it was all of the media, and no matter what media network you're watching, whether they're a Republican or a Democratic supporter, it all made this country look weak. It made Joe Biden look like a complete ass clown.
I didn't think this did it, but whatever. It's like either way, I was.
He said, "I don't think this did it."
No,
That's awesome.
it's just look. It's just like I was talking to my brother Ray, and we're like, you realize that pretty much, and like when this election starts, it's going to be like one really out of touch rich white guy versus one really out of touch white rich guy. Like those are going to be our choices, and people are going to get passionate about either side and go nuts. Well, either way, say someone else steps up. Think about the debates, how one guy's a stand-up comic and other people are not. And he's going to run people over with his stand-up comedy. He might get even indicted, all that stuff, but his stand-up comedy, boy, does it play well to the crowds on TV, right? If he ever gets in a stage where it's the two of them, and it is a presidential debate, now, that's unfair. One's having trouble speaking. One has no trouble at all because he won't stop. So it's a run over. My point being, though, is in this time where everything's getting different, and it's sometimes in a good way, what do we have for options looming? Imagine that if we have two of the same, like, just old, rich white guys, like, nobody new. Like, wouldn't you like to see somebody new?
There's a woman running for as on the Republican ticket.
Yeah, I know, but buddy, with Rubio and Trump on the same stage as her, she might as well just be like, you know what I mean? Like standing below.
She's gonna get drowned out.
Yeah, that's gonna be such a
chance, but it's
nice
to have options, I guess.
But all right. Anyways, here's what I want to ask you: is who is Lamb? It was drawn by Aleister Crowley. You had it on your page. Why Lamb? What's Lamb mean?
We don't know what he is, but he was conjured by Aleister Crowley in a ritual, and many people, including myself, believe he does look a little bit like what we would consider to be Grace, And but that one of my point though was going back to my CE5 lecture I did on Link Project. Who's conjuring who here? We go out there and we do all these rituals thinking we're conjuring the beings, and beings themselves may be conjuring us, looking for a mortal portal to enter into this world. And what's, people can discount that, but they don't discount it to my face because they don't want to go to the research. So that's what I struggle with when people say that. I don't tell you that, man, to be honest with you, because I'm like, what? They won't tell me that because they don't want to be on the show and discuss the research. It's always that little chitter chatter behind my back. I don't like,
So first off, rule number one, they don't say it to your face. It doesn't happen. It's just not a thing that exists. Second of all, you're the first one to say, not the first one. You're basically saying though that it's not us that go finding these things. It could be that we are just used by aliens at given times to handle business here or do things or test this out or whatnot. Like what I saw that you wrote about was that aliens could be the ones that are basically at fault for everything, right? Does that make? I know that's broad, but like again, I'm trying to give you the layman's terms of what I think that you were saying that they were having an issue with. Like, why couldn't, in other words, we be just conduits for the aliens to use, as opposed to we're the ones bringing stuff in and we're channeling ourselves, right?
Well, yeah, there's a portal. There's a connection here that they have to make in and with us. So my point was that I call it the phenomenon. My hypothesis is not that it's demonic or that it's alien, but that the phenomenon has worn two masks throughout histories and many others, if you really want to count other mythologies. But that there is something other hiding in the shadows that's been working both puppets, both fields of research, and sometimes against each other. So, I have friends that are parapsychologists, I have friends that are demonologists, but you'll never see them talking to each other. I mean, like I messaged one parapsychologist years ago just to say, hey, I'm interested in your work. Before I could get out 2 paragraphs, it was, you're a demonologist, I don't believe in demons, and I don't even want to talk to you, which was ludicrous. Ludicrous to me. Just missed me with that junk. And so I use the word phenomenon because I don't think that I in most, if you can, if somebody else can, let me know. I mean, I can't define it yet. I don't know what it is, but I do know enough about the literature and the field to suggest the hypothesis that there is something that is using demons, demonology, ufology, fairies, and different literatures to hide behind. It doesn't want us to know who and what it is. So it uses even sometimes religions to mask up. And I think that as long as we bicker and hate on each other and all that stuff, we will never get to the root of it. It'll keep dividing us to where we devour each other instead of saying, hey, listen, maybe my people that I'm working with can talk to the people you're working with, and we can kind of meet in the middle. And my point in saying that is the phenomenon would like to divide us because if we're not all at the table, we're going to all be on the menu.
Yep. Hell yeah. I had a long conversation again with my brother Ray today, and I was trying to say to him how you gotta kind of stand up for yourself, but not be a dick. And if you don't, it just sets a precedence for everything else that happens.
Right.
And if you're wrong, you're wrong. But you got in other words, it's weird with me and my brother Ray. Me and my brother Ray have a thing with each other where it's like we get into like little bickering arguments, right? All the time. I mean, I think it happens routinely, and it's always about like the dumbest things. Nothing important about life. It might be like the Dolphins one week. It might be just like who's better, Marino or Montana. Like it'll just get heated between two of us, and the phone will end, and then there's like a 10-minute pause, and I get the, hey, just want to tell you I love you, and I'm like, yeah, I love you too, right? Like whoever was the jerkiest at the end, he's the one who makes the first call. Usually, depends, you know what I mean? But like in other words, like what they're hating on is they're just going by dumb names. Like, and I mean, it's not a dumb name. They're going by like just names. They're dumb being going by names. When it comes to a person, I feel like if you don't know the person, you shouldn't really judge what they're doing as personal as they take it. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Like, you're putting something out there as a hypothesis, and it's really the words they're attacking, but they don't do that. It's more like they want to attack the person who said the words. You get that?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I grew up with that in religion, and I think that's what's disappointing me the most about the paranormal community, because instead of coming on a show with 407,000 subscribers and debate me, they won't. What they'll do, though, and here's what I really dislike: debate ideas. I admit I don't know what all this is. I don't. I'm just a guy trying to go out there and grope in the darkness and shed a light on the phenomenon in a way that I personally can do. But yeah, I mean, it's the people that think they know. That's what scares me to death about it. It's like, dude, whatever. But that's my 2 cents, and I'll shut it up now.
No, I like that though, buddy. What are your thoughts on what he just said?
Oh my God, the people that think they know. I have spent the last almost 2 decades investigating the paranormal, and you have these groups, or these not even like groups, just people who say they think they know, and they'll go to a location, and it could be a cemetery, and they'll trash it, or they'll go to someone's house and say there's demons. I've known people they like falsely get sick, and just to say it's demons so they can get more out of these people. It's just the amount of faking and bullshit that goes on in the paranormal field is absolutely deplorable. But
you know them,
people like you and myself.
Buddy, you know them?
I don't know them. I know of them. They were a group that I had heard about, and other people had told me about, and then a while back I had watched their YouTube videos, and it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? This is horrible. And it was
but totally, I think there's a place for fake UFO stuff and fake paranormal stuff. Like I do, like give them those people credit, because they try really hard to create something that people wouldn't believe in the first place. You know what I mean?
But they try to, but a lot of them try to exploit others. Yeah, I know. In doing so, and that's not cool at all. So.
No, I get that. Dude, it's fakeness and everything. But like, I like you said, I don't think again. Sometimes when you say stuff, right, like that's what it is that you do. So don't attack what you said I mean, attack what you said. Don't attack the person. Like, if you want to argue what I say, go ahead, argue what I said.
Yeah.
Let's go back and forth about it. As long as we're agreeing that we're arguing about what I said, not about like my beard or your hat or Buddy's blue hoodie. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not arguing about that, are we? Because if that's it, then that's not what I was trying to get across when I just said something.
Yeah, and it's people that usually do that or I don't know. I've had some of them be threatened. I've had them, and I'll just be honest with you, man. It's really what it is. I mean, if you really, I mean, I don't know. It kind of disappoints me because I know people in Rhode Island, so it's guaranteed to be somebody we both know that said that. I know it is, but I don't care, man. I'm just doing me, man. I don't really care. But again, if we do have a conversation to be had, have it. You know what I mean? Like, discuss the ideas, the merits of the argument. When it's something personal, it's more of a reflection on them, because it's like, look, dude, you know.
Yeah. Well, dude, I get nothing but negative press, I would think.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I've never cared though. That's kind of part of what fuels me. Like, I kind of if I was gonna be a wrestler, I would be Roddy Piper before I would be Hulk Hogan. In other words, like, let them hate. I don't care. Because I'm not, if I'm not saying something that I know I'm lying, like if I'm not lying and I'm not doing something like maliciously, then it's like, you know what? You got to say what you got to say. Like, you have to say what you're going to say. And like, but have you ever met somebody that like blew your mind in the sense of like, you're always trying to like figure out how someone's not really real, but then you find someone, you go, wait a minute. And you try and you're like, wait a minute. And then like by the third time you're going, all right, now what do I do? Like, this person has real, like they might be really in touch with like things that I'm not in touch with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've seen people like that.
Like, who's the biggest one for you? Who like we were like, wow.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way. Just either way, where you were like, holy shit, they know they're like they're legit. Like, oh my God.
Well, for me, it was Dr. Barry Fitzgerald. You know, I had a case of a remote viewer that he was going in and out of his body, but when he was going back into his body, these beings were carving religious amulets underneath the skin to the surface, subdermal. And so, you know, I couldn't ask my friends that, honestly. Like, what do you think? I've never had a case like that. So I had before, and instead of attacking them, that would be dumb, I went to a person that's twice my age, and hey, you know, Dr. Barry Fitzgerald, can I hit you up sometime? Yeah. And then so once I started unloading on him about my research and just some of the case studies I've had, he's like, yeah, you know, that's the phenomenon. And he kind of expanded my perspective of it. But that's the reason I'm not bashing right now, is because I freaking love that. That's what the whole thing is about. I love it.
Yeah. So we had Barry on, and Barry scared us silly though. Buddy, he's the only guest to really say something. First of all, Barry seemed very tired because like 3 a.m, I guess, in Ireland, and he was really just. He had I won't go into the whole paradigm, but he saw something at this dig he was just on that was kind of like the Skinwalker Ranch, and he was really shaken up by it. And the thing is, here's a guy that I'm talking to that everybody knows about that I really don't. I'm learning about him as I talk to him. My God, does that guy seem genuine? Like, he was like,
it's awesome.
So then he says that something he saw was so scary that it like shook him. Like, he was shaking. Like, I don't want to keep using the same word, but he basically said that like I asked him a question, he didn't want to answer it, so I eventually backdoored him. No pun intended. And he said, I asked him, was it serpentine in nature? And he said yes. So something's under the ground that Barry's really scared of. Like, let's be honest about that. And Barry's a credible guy. So what the hell's going on under the ground? You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I know when I talk to him, because his buddy and pal, sometimes he lectures with, is Steve Mera, which is also freaking incredible. You know, I mean, but I guess that separates real passion. You know, I want to know more. You know, if you're challenging my paradigm, maybe it needs to be challenged. I mean, you know, growing up, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but yeah, I mean, it is frustrating. I mean, but it blew my mind. Like, when I was talking to Dr. Barry Fitzgerald, you know, like you said, he's tired because we're in the States, he's in Ireland. But I'm just throwing softballs at him. And sometimes I drop something that I know is probably unique to my research. And excuse me, sure enough, he's like, no, it's not, you know, there's some answers. But more than anything, it let me know that there were people in the field that were striving for personal excellence, not for accolades, but because they had a genuine passion, a desire to know more about the phenomenon. Um, and it was just, that's why I'm in the field. I mean, I couldn't care less about anything else.
I really think that I'm starting to feel cracks. We've been doing this for a while now, and since we started to where we are now, I feel like we're starting to see cracks in things where people are starting to try to pass on real information to other people. Like, being serious, like I'm not trying to say like all of a sudden things are getting better, but like in a weird way, like it's like we can really learn from certain people. Certain people seem to know really like, and people that start to come together. And there's all that other bullshit movies being made around it. But like if you're really listening underneath, it's like on the AM channels, you're hearing stuff come together and people have the same thing, like Barry or stuff like that. Buddy, would you agree it's getting like better? Like as we're going along with the show and it's like over 2 years,
being
certain people coming together.
Having my head in the cookie jar and host we have guests week after week. Yeah, you do hear it sounds like we're making strides, and being in the field, I think, yeah, maybe we're making strides, but I don't know. I'm always haunted, so to say, by the people who are just in it to rope others in and just to screw people over.
But see, once we identify them, we all should be okay with them,
right?
And put them over here, like they're in this lane of traffic. They're in that. So there's 4 lanes. You got the on-ramp lane that you only stay in if you're old, or if you don't have your license, or you're high, or you're just trying to figure out how way not to get pulled over. Second lane is my least favorite lane. I call that douchebag lane. There's no reason to be in that lane. Like literally, you're either going to go faster or just get out of that lane. Third lane is for the guys that like to pass, or some people like to settle in that lane. You know what I mean? They settle in the third lane, like as if that's as fast as I'm going to go. Like, come on now. And then the fourth lane is the maniacs. People with buddy drive, stuff like that. Like, we're going someplace we gotta get.
Buddy admits to it. He's like, "I'll embrace that. I'm owning that right there." Yeah,
this is how it works. But anyways, I digress. My thing is, I'm starting to hear certain people starting to come together in this thing that we're saying. Like, in other words, there's something going on, and it might not just be ghosts. It might not just be UFOs. It might not just be Bigfoot. What if it's all of it? Right? Like,
I'm telling you,
all of it. And it's, again, something I said on one of our very first shows. And buddy, money there. The man who put, in Ocean State Paranormal, said to me, "You're wrong. It can't be everything altogether."
I don't think it is. I still don't think it is everything altogether. But
Nathaniel,
I've only ever experienced ghosts in the paranormal. I've never experienced UFOs. While it sounds interesting, and I subscribe to certain UFO stuff, and Bigfoot is like, but I think it's all separated. But I'd like to see. Show me. I'm willing to hear. I'm willing to see. Yeah. Show me. I haven't had anybody show me as of yet. So,
is that because you're skeptical? You're being skeptical. They're not going to show itself to you because you're being kind of skeptical. Like,
I'm open. I want to see it. People don't show me anything that will prove this, like, connection between UFOs and they say it, but there's no actual proof. There's no photographs. I don't know. There's nothing to suggest it. So,
I like that theory. Nathaniel, go ahead.
Well, I think that when the phenomenon in certain case studies manifests itself as all of the above at the same time, we have cases of UFO abduction phenomenon where the deceased are present, or that a shadow figure manifests, or it's a demon or something. Even Jesus, I had a case study of Jesus that had abducted someone and all this stuff. Yeah, so the phenomenon again, in many cases it will manifest as everything, but it takes somebody diving into the literature and not just because I've done investigations too. You won't find it on an EVP session or anything. You have to go to the literature and look at various case studies throughout the years and be open to the fact that these beings will call themselves demons. Matter of fact, I did a show earlier today with a guy who's is an expert on Ariel Masters, and Ariel Masters wrote a book on witch era literature, where witches were being abducted by demons. What the heck does that mean? Where they were being kidnapped and they were flying with these quote unquote demons, and we're going to sabbats and copulating with corpses and demons, and so they're having intercourse with these things. And then Ariel Masters records something that's fascinating, with worth considering, because the phenomenon had manifested as corpses and demons and put on a theatrical production for these witches. But when it came down to it, there was a frequency that fuzzed in and out. And for the first time, many of these witches were looking around the room, and they realized that there were no demons in that room. There were no corpses, but they were actually copulating with metallic objects that were probing them. They were taking
I feel
over.
like we just turned to Cinemax. We were on HBO, and we just went to Cinemax.
Right.
I like this part of the story, so explain further.
Right, but what we see, though, is the phenomenon had catered and tailored the experience to the belief system of the experiencer.
Yep, I agree.
Which is another case study of the phenomenon literally masking itself. It's no different than the case study that I had personally of a woman who was abducted, and in the middle of the abduction, she called on Jesus. And Jesus manifested, but it wasn't the first century olive-skinned Jew. It was a Swedish Presbyterian. And the reason why it manifested as that to her is because what it did is, when she thought about this Jesus, she had an image, and that's the image that manifested to her. This is the mimicking aspect of the phenomenon that we have to pay attention to if we're going to see beyond the veil. So what I'm talking about.
Swedish Jesus. Never even heard of it.
I know. But that's what it appeared. That's what it appeared to her as, something that was ahistorical. What that means is the phenomenon is measuring literacy.
What you know. So basically,
right?
People seeing what they know and what they see. They're not seeing things they've never seen before.
Right.
Correct. Now, if that were to happen to the late Dr. Heiser, rest in peace, he died this week. If that were to happen, he was a Jewish scholar. He was a Hebrew scholar. If that were to happen to him, do you really think it would appear to him as some, white skin? No. Why? Because they would know this ain't going to work on Dr. Heiser. He's going to call our bluff, right?
Yep.
So the phenomenon in through and through, and to the majority of cases, I think, it will mimic and mirror. If it's not our memories, it's a belief system. Can I keep going? I don't want to keep rambling. Sometimes I seem like a ramble.
No. I'm listening to everything you're saying, because all I'm thinking in my head is, so I would see baby Jesus.
Something.
I would see the Buddy Christ for sure.
That's my favorite. No, that's not my favorite. Baby Jesus is by far the best of all the Jesuses. Look at the baby Jesus, you go, oh, baby Jesus. Like, I would want that. That's like, in other words, what you're saying is basically this. There's something that's out there that it's going to show you what you kind of want to see. It's going to show you enough that you understand it and it doesn't blow your mind, because it wants to make sure you kind of come along, and it doesn't want to show you something you're like, I don't know what that is. So it's gonna tailor make it for you. Right?
It's looking for manufactured consent.
Yep.
Do you believe I am who I appear to be? Yes. Okay, then do what I want you to do. Ted Rice was working with the late Dr. Carla Turner, who was an abduction researcher. Ted Rice was a medium, and he had helped people for 26 years by his guides. His guides would give him information and whatnot. And so anyways, he gets abducted by his guides, and he's abducted along with his grandmother. And one of these beings approached his grandmother and said, we want to copulate with you. They were trying to inseminate her and use her as a breeder. And next thing you know, she said, I've only been with one man, and that was my husband. He's dead now. So you see the role? It's going to be played here. From the shadows emerges her husband. So, but once again, if we pay attention to this case study, the phenomenon can and has mirrored and mimicked deceased people and persons. So if we look at this, the phenomenon has already played the role of ghosts, just in these handful of cases, ghosts and demons, corpses, and now the latest manifestation of deception is I'm extraterrestrial, which again, I believe, and according to my data, my research, that the phenomenon is using this as another mask to manipulate. I'm an ET. I'm not a demon. I'm an ET. Now, this is why I put up that post about Lamb and the many various interconnectivities between Lamb and what we're experiencing. Matter of fact, there was a group from the Department of Defense called the Collins Elite. And they went to and investigated Jack Parsons' claims, Aleister Crowley's claims, and they went to a witch called Sybil Leek. Now, Sybil Leek was a contemporary of Crowley, and they asked her to channel the beings that Crowley had channeled. And she says, well, I've never channeled them, but I'm going to try to. So she goes into this ritual. She does this incantation. Her head rolls back. And she starts channeling the beings that Crowley channeled. And so all of a sudden, the atmosphere changes. The candles go out. They're here. They're here. And they start asking these beings questions. And they ask them, okay, are you extraterrestrial? She started laughing. Or the being started laughing through her. They started mocking them, verbally abusing them. And these are physicists. These aren't just, these are big dudes in the Department of Defense. Starts laughing and says, don't you realize that this is the latest mass? This is the latest deception. This is just the newest technology we're using to deceive the masses. When they got done, they asked her, do you know who you contacted? She said, I've never contacted anything like that. So again, there is evidence that suggests that the beings have manifested as angels, and they have. Read Dr. Carl Turner's book, Masquerade of Angels. They've manifested as watchers who guard the souls of the deceased. They've manifested as Jesus to experiencers. They manifested as deceased uncles. But see what the difference is, though, is if I was into hauntology, I would only think that the phenomenon are ghosts. It's just ghosts, because that's what they manifested to me as. But if I was in a demonology, I would be studying witchery literature, and I'd say, well, these beings are demons because they manifested to me as demons. Right. And so, but what if, and this is what I'm suggesting, and I think it's worth conversing over, what if we are dealing with something that is using all of these different mythologies and dogmas as puppets to influence humanity, and something else behind in the shadows is present, and it's just waiting on us to evolve into the next step. And that's really what my research is about.
So basically, it's not like it's not a sunshiny day. Basically, what you're saying is that, like, you know what I'm talking about, the Brady Bunch. Basically, so what you're saying is that, like, demons could be behind the whole thing.
What I'm saying is that there's a phenomenon out there that has played the role of demon when it's time, played the role of ghost when it's time, and all of the above. What I'm suggesting is something far darker, and that's a more sinister phenomenon at work that we cannot yet define. We don't yet have the correct vocabulary for it.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If there's something already at work like that, there's no way we stand the chance. I don't have any faith in it. No, I'm being serious, man. I look around. People can't even do certain things anymore. Like, they can't even leave the house. Can't drive on the highway. It's ridiculous. We're all done as a species. I don't know, dude. We've given up. I mean, if there's something evil lurking in the shadows, I would tell it to wait 10 years and then pounce. That'd be my advice to an evil. I don't know what we're calling it, like energy. Do they just, I guess, is somewhat might be involved or try to involve itself in every aspect of what we believe in. In other words, try to fill our heads with visions of things that we really believe in, so that when that's pulled out from underneath us, that would ruin us the most. I've always said that, like, if they ever just came, like, if there was this guy that just appeared out of nowhere and his name was Joe, and he was like, I'm Joe, and none of the religions are real. It was me that created everybody, just as a joke. And he made everybody have, like, this feeling in their chest where they knew he was telling the truth. I always wondered what people would do the next day. Like, would they go back to work? Would, like, people that were monks for years or nuns, would they go back to work? Like, what do they do? Like, now that they know the real truth, that none of all what they all believe in is really real. It was a guy named Joe. Like, how does that ruin somebody? It shakes someone's faith. Like, I'm basically making a dumb version of saying, like, something like that would just destroy someone's faith. So to believe in something like that, there's those people that immediately, the minute you step over their fence of faith, like their green yard of faith, they're going to throw that fence up, dude, and be like, no, that can't be, because blah, blah, blah.
I've had them do that on shows. I was on one show where the guy couldn't get around the fact, okay, well, if they don't do this, then they're not demons. And I'm suggesting, I mean, it's like, I don't know, but I think there's something more demonic than demons and something more alien than alien. And we're using these terms to kind of construct an identity that we're okay with in being. We don't really know what's lurking in the darkness. These are terms that we use to comfort ourselves in the middle of the night when something goes bump. We can put crucifixes out there and tell ourselves they work until the entity throws the crucifix off like I did in the haunting in Connecticut. We don't, right? So we tell ourselves that they follow certain rules, and even more than that, they've told us through experiencers, through EVPs, all of that. They've told us that they follow certain rules up until they don't, buddy. Up until they don't follow those rules, and then we realize that was yet another lie, a deception. And this is why I'm doing my research. And okay, look, I know forget all the titles, forget all the terms, forget all the descriptions. Are there any rules they follow? Are there any? Is there any morality to them? And is there what kind of belief systems do they have? That's what I'm more in tune with, and I think that would help us understand more about them, their motives. And if there's anything we can do to prepare ourselves for their presence, whether it be in the middle of the night with individuals or if it be in mass, if they just showed up all at once. But we have to know that, or else we're going to be groping in the darkness.
So basically, you're like saying prep for the fact that they may not be like ET and just want M&Ms. You know what
Something
I mean?
Completely different. And even, yeah. But even more than that, man, I mean, if you think about it, like Whitley Strieber's abducted and he sees a deceased friend with him. What?
Yeah.
You know, why? You know, and this gets back into some of my research I've been doing about soul hunting and how many people that where it's not just a physical abduction that they encounter. It's literally an out-of-body experience or a near-death experience, but it has some of the same nuances of abduction. And it's very interesting stuff.
Who is like I had to bring this up, guys. This one is confusing. Pronounce that, buddy.
Filippo?
All right.
Filippo?
Yep. He spelled not like he's from Boston, so I don't know.
It's not my first language.
It's Nat. No, he says sorry. My English is Nat. My first Nat. All right, dude. You know what though? I'm with you, but you would have to type faster. So, like you know, like it's like when I call my son. When my son calls me, right? Nathaniel, I don't understand people. He'll call me up and go, Dad. Yeah, you just call me. Of course it's me. Like, why are you saying my name before I answer the phone? You just call me, dude. Don't say my. Right, I'm sorry. Yes, you say my name perfect. All right. Hey, Filippo, if that's perfect, speed up with the question. So, they don't want to hear bad news. No one wants to hear bad news, man. No one wants to hear the negative side. And if you say something negative, they call you a negative person, and then blah, 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 all negative. That's why my theory is I go by the person. I don't go by what they believe in or their message. That's different than the person themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, in other words, I'm friends with everybody until I'm not friends with them. What they believe in doesn't have to be what I believe in. Because I don't really want you to believe in what I believe in. It's not even interesting if you do. Like, I'm just that person. Like I want to be drinking and arguing, but in a friendly way over something we don't agree in, because that's fun. I'm not a big fan of like drinking and going, "Oh, you really are the greatest. Oh, you're the best. You're 100% right. Oh, it's great. Have another one. Oh, that's not how it works. It's not fun. It's fun to be like, all right, I don't agree with you. Let me hear it. But it's not like I don't agree with you and I don't like your hat. Like, you know what I mean? That's like, whoa. You are getting personal. Like, what was that for? You know, I don't like your glasses, motherfucker. What's that problem? You know what I mean? That's where they get a little crazy. But like, I really read that Instagram post, and that was my favorite thing of the week. Like, dude, that was the perfect way to. I'm so sick of people diverting blame. Like, they say something about you, and they go, "Oh, well, I'm sorry," or "I didn't mean that," or "This was this." It's when you say certain things that you really meant, and they say, and you go, "Yeah, that's what I said." No, well, I didn't know. That's what I said. That's what I said, and just stick with it. That's the best way to handle that kind of press. Period. Or that kind of like pushback or whatever you want to call it. You just stay. He finally wrote something. You just stay down the path of you. I leave club night. Can I read this as I think he would read it? I leave club night very drunk. I fall asleep in park. When I wake, I covered in ectoplasm. I then see 4 large male ghosts running away. Why the ectoplasm me is strange? No.
No, you're sleeping on a bench too. That's why they did it to you.
So basically he's saying, I see 4 large male ghosts, which is already getting a little weird for me, running away. When I wake up covered in it, dude, if you fall asleep in a park and you wake up and you think it's ectoplasm, you're just in the wrong state of mind, my friend.
Find a shower.
Yeah, go home, start again. I don't know if I even want to entertain that right there. Because look, ectoplasm? Like, isn't that Ghostbusters? Isn't it Ghostbusters?
Come on, dude.
I had well, I'll give you an anecdotal report. I had somebody had comment on one of my shows and said, this is one of the funniest things ever. Not in a twisted way, but it was just somebody's response to it was the best. Said, man, I've had 4 near-death experiences in the last month. Somebody commented underneath, may want to go to the hospital to get checked.
Yeah.
That's not a paranormal encounter. That there's something natural going on that you might want to get checked out.
You might want to slow down something.
Yeah, man. Maybe the Red Bull or something. But
you're not doing it right. No, it's you know what? The thing is, it's like here's the problem. In this field, there are people that are legitimately real. Like, wow, are they real? And then there's people that are so clown shoes fake that they make it just. It's like if the Harlem Globetrotters played in the NBA. You know, you'd be like, what the frig are they doing in the NBA? They just made it look stupid for everybody else. And that's kind of what it is. Because it's like you get one whack job that fakes anything that's talking about something. And they just kind of ruin things. And then there's people that are selling the same stuff, but they're being more intelligent about it. And you're understanding them. And it's like they don't get hurt.
Yeah.
It's like when networks decide to do live paranormal investigations on TV on Halloween night because it's spooky and it's Halloween night. And unlike the networks don't realize that the entities are not on command, and then they have to do something on command, and it's so effing blatantly obvious. Yeah, just don't do it in the first place.
That's not good research.
Don't have a live investigation because nothing's guaranteed to happen ever.
No, of course not. No,
right.
No. Hey, Nathaniel. So, what's next for you? Like, what are your plans next moving forward?
I don't know, man. So I have my own show on Link Project every first and last Thursday at 9.
Yep.
I'm doing my own research and just trying to look for behavioral patterns that we can identify and at least classify some of these things. And just trying to survive, man. You know.
So you're grinding more now. You're trying to figure out more of the whys as opposed to the who's and where's.
Yeah, right? Man. And I want to know the raw data, and I know enough about demonology and the witch hair literature to get a better grasp on that phenomenon. But now I'm taking what I know and I'm going to go into ufology. My real focus now is the abduction literature, right? These beings are telling people they're angels, they're Jesus. I had one encounter, not my encounter, sorry. I read an encounter in the book Beyond UFOs. It troubled me. That's why I crashed everything. I canceled my shows. It's been a couple years back now. And I went to your neck of the woods, man. And in the encounter was about a lady who had been taken from her youth. They were monitoring her fertility and everything. And she knew when they were going to take her because she felt the beings in the room and whatnot. And
they waited for her to ovulate and then they took her?
Yes. They're sick. These things are sick. But they're trying the same thing with men. They'll monitor their fertility in terms of their salmon swim upstream. And anyways, because they're trying to procreate through us, which is another disturbing show we might have to do sometime. But anyways,
are they looking for like the most virile and like of men to like, and they just use them to recreate?
I know that they're monitoring the stamina and the fertility, I should say, of both genders, and it's just, they are.
So we're saying that basically I could have fathered many alien babies.
Many.
Yep, that's the succubi phenomenon, and then vice versa, you have the incubi phenomenon. But truth of the matter is, so that's what I'm looking more into, man. Understanding this.
Yeah.
And yeah, right.
No, but
Imagine alien child support.
I'm making a joke of it, but like what I'm saying is, you're really from first interview to second interview, it's like you're now more interested in what you can learn. Like you're diving into it. Like it's like there's like a moment where with this whole thing that you start to be like, all right, I'm gonna learn what I can learn from me, because I know we pound it into the ground, but we keep saying like paranormal is personal. It's not conventional. That's why it doesn't work sometimes in those conventions. Like you want to talk to the person, you want to like meet the person, you want to get information from the person. I love talking to people and getting their information, pulling it out, because I get to be like this buddy. We get to be sponges every week, where we take in all the data that people are giving us, or data, whatever, and we bring it in, and we start to make our own versions of it. And there's certain things that I do believe in. Like I'm a big proponent of the fact that there's evil every day, and there's good, but there is. See, I see there is good. See, where you see just evil taking the shapes of.
This has got to be trolling, man. Somebody's trolling us.
Yeah, I know, but that's kind of funny. No, that's not funny. Like I kudos to that guy. Is interesting about a big black demon and his pet snake in a public toilet. No, by the way, that's not interesting. Like if someone came up to you at like, I don't know, say like Stop and Shop, and I was like, oh, I saw a big black demon and his big black snake in a toilet. Of course, it's interesting, dude. Shut up.
For you.
Why would you ask that question? It's like, is Buddy handsome? We're already on that. Yes. I love that. So what I'm saying is this. You're saying that, look out, it could be something evil behind all of this, which does make sense, because, yeah, well, why not? Why couldn't it all be that? But what if it's a battle? What if like there's actually something going on where there's a battle for us? Because that would bring back all the mythologies. Because there's always a good side fighting said bad side. So if there is what you're saying, evil amongst us, is there a chance in my head that there's a good, but it's just maybe it's losing right now, or it doesn't know its footing?
I don't.
I mean, seriously, like, well, why not? Like, if there's bad, why can't they be good?
I think it's a great question, and what I'm kind of laughing at is the response that I had from Steve Mera, and. Pretty freaking terrifying, like the theory that is being worked on by people in the Vatican and the government was essentially that we were told in the Bible that the battle was already won, right? Yeah. The battle's done. The battle was in heaven, and good guys fought the bad guys, and the bad guys lost, and they fell. They all suck. But the theory that a lot of researchers are leaning on is that there are good and bad sides, but they are still at war. And we're in the middle of it, which that would make more sense than anything. And even if it is uncomfortable, it would make sense. And so, but at least we have somebody fighting for us.
You know what's weird is that's as we said, that's actually what I believe. Like, if you ask me what I believe is going on in the world, like, because I actually feel it within myself. Like, I feel some days where I have this bad side, good side pull. Because I'm not like somebody that's just like cookie cutter good. Like I can't. It's just not in my DNA. But you can drink on you. I'm full Italian.
I do, yeah.
So it's like when you see people generations ahead of you that you love and respect hustle, you think, oh well, that's not that bad. And once you do that, that slope turns, because it's like, well, I don't think that's that bad. Like I was watching that Murdoch Murders, or what it's called, Netflix.
Yeah.
Series, and then friggin' like I watched it on HBO or something. They did a series. I'm like, I want to see like the two different. Netflix by far was the best, but like watching something like that, it was just like, that's evil living amongst us. Like that is evil there. But like I hope that there's good fighting for us, because in myself, again, they did some scams in that show where I was like, that's not a big deal. You know what I mean? But that's hypocrisy. But then there's the other thing. I'm like, oh, no, I would never do that. You can't kill somebody. but take 10
That's a
million.
little bit over the line, as Norm Macdonald would say. That's a little bit too much.
What I'm saying is my line isn't that legal line. It's like a line like a little bit below legal. Like, in other words, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is like if they were doing illegal gambling or some stupid shit, I have no issue with it. Like, I don't. But when they do other stuff, I do have an issue with it. So it's like, I don't know if I'm the one to judge, but like, I feel it within myself that I fight good and evil every day. And I think the people that don't act like that there is evil or that there is good, it's like, I don't know. That's hiding, I think. Buddy, what do you think?
I think we as human beings are capable of doing good or evil every single day, every moment of the day. And that's where the good comes out. I mean, people say that, oh, I have angels, I see angels. Maybe, but I think humans have the potential to be both good and evil all the time. And it's based on our free will and decisions. Call it religion, call it human behavior, call it whatever you want. It's I think it's just a matter of free will and what one decides to do in the moment.
But what's righteous for someone is not for someone else. Like, in other words, like what you hold is different. Like, and it's flipped. Like, in other words, you can meet someone where they're like the opposite of you on something really serious, but then on something else, they're the opposite of you, and they're more righteous in that. And you're like, well, they got me there. So it's a give and take, and which brings us back to the whole story of, what the hell is this?
I don't know what this.
I don't know, but look at that guy's haircut. Look at that
Giuseppe hand, definitely not in the pants.
Wait, stop. Look at the head haircut though.
It looks like he has a robe on almost.
No. My point is that I hope I have enough confidence that as I get a little older, that I can rock that head of hair without any prejudice. Like, that's almost like that famous Danny DeVito from Taxi.
Stabby.
You know what I'm saying? Like that classic old guy head of hair where it's going over here, but he rocks it a little wild.
He looks like a lot of the former patients that I've had in psychiatric settings.
Yeah. No, that's not a real picture or a real account or real, but probably trolling. But I tell you what, I love that head of hair. See, the thing is, you take something negative and you make it positive. There's no such thing as like, fuck that. You know what? I once played a show where there was 300 people in the crowd. The place was so packed you couldn't get anybody else in. There was one guy in the middle that kept flipping us off. And that's all me and Dave could focus on was the guy flipping us off. Like, there's 299 people jumping up and down to what we're doing. One guy just standing there flipped me off, and I just want to kill him. And there's footage of it where we're both like, you want to come up on stage? We're both addressing this one negative person out of 300, dude. We're not paying attention to all the positive. We just can't get this guy out of our head because he's flipping us off. What's his friggin' problem? Like, that's all we're thinking. Like, and that's kind of how this shit works. Like, you can have like all this stuff going positive, but one person comes up with a negative, stupid thing, a dumb thing, or it's bizarre, or this. All right, wait a minute.
I think I know who that is.
Buddy is not Italian. Buddy is
this person. Listen to
this guy is the Italian.
Giuseppe hand, definitely not in pants. Whatever it is. Dude,
doctor.
First of all, wrong attempt. Not even close, guy. Not even close. Matter of fact, I don't know if I'll ever show a comment by you again, because you know what? You insulted me, Giuseppe. You broke my heart. You called this ginger or Italian? The ginger next to me is an Italian.
Beautiful ginger beard.
And you got this guy sitting right here. I'm not.
Friggin' guys. Funny. Get your hand out of your pants and your head out of your ass, guy.
Like, you're going to eventually come down and we're going to film the three of us with the Benny Hill music behind us as we go from bar to bar and we eat all the different like calzones and food. Dude,
I want to gain 20 pounds, man. I'm so pumped. I mean, you already saw probably my Facebook post about good food in Massachusetts, man. Did you see those subs? Oh my god.
Oh.
So yeah, man. Next time I'm in town, dude, it's gonna be a blast.
Craft beers.
I gotta figure out a day that I can get you down to Block Island. Because we're working with Rick and Roxanne from Block Island. They do like ghost tours, but they got all this stuff going on. I tell you what, dude, it's a great place. I'm personally, we're gonna be doing like certain weekends that are like themed, but I'm also looking for people that during the week are the type of people that will come down, right? Just hang out, get free drinks, free food, and get a place to sleep, whether it's someone else's house or whatever. But it's such a party atmosphere on Block Island, dude. And like they need certain people, right, buddy? Am I right?
Yeah, it's like a party. It's like a college town in a small town on an island in the middle of Narragansett Bay.
So there's certain people
Sounds
that
incredible.
and it's getting bigger on the whole paranormal thing. They're getting like
everywhere there is haunted too.
So to get you down and like have a place for you to stay, just to hang out, like even get to know you better and drink all day, dude. It's a beach. There's a beach all around us. Like
it's an island.
That's something I want to get you on. We're also doing on 420 a pub crawl. We're gonna do a paranormal pub crawl. That's something you should definitely come down and hang out with us on. Like,
I'll throw some dates at you guys and vice versa, man. I got to get with James too. I haven't talked to Anita in a while.
Yeah, well, you know what?
For a bit.
It's winter. Certain people are. It's just it's tougher to get a hold of everybody. I think like honestly, March 15th, once the Ides of March ends, that's when like for me it gets fun again. Because I hate February, dude. I'm jinxed by the month. Like I really am. I hate February, and I don't stop until the Ides of 15th. From there on out, it becomes summertime in my book, and I'm looking forward to this year because like we're trying to do things on Block Island and in Providence that are more like you don't have a Paracon, but like there's a VIP party before the Paracon.
Right.
Well, we want to throw the VIP things. We don't want to do the Paracons because quite honestly, you talk to people and they don't want to do Paragon things. They don't want to hear the same things they've been hearing. They want to kind of hang out with people like you, have a couple of drinks, and like pick your brain. That's what people really want to do. So it's like, you know what? We'll just give them what they want. It's easy to do that.
I enjoy that more anyways, man. So I think that'd be awesome.
And that's what everyone says, buddy, right? Everyone says that to a T.
Way more fun to be in a bar than it is to be in a nicer Columbus Hall.
It's not the type of experience thing that should be done in a location where it's like cold and like
stiff.
It's a personal thing. You have to talk to somebody.
Very stiff, yeah.
Hear them. It's just I can't wait for the summer because it's going to be filled with a bunch of like I'm hoping really good nights for like legit paranormal, and then really bad nights for me, Mike Lepre. Like I want a couple of nights of throwing up. Like I'm looking forward to that this summer. Like I deserve it. I haven't gotten that drunk in a long time, and I'm looking to see if I can take myself there.
Waking up in a beach somewhere.
With Nathaniel next to me, like, what the fuck happened last night? What's your problem? I'll be like, dude, I don't know. That's
as long as I don't wake up in a park with
no park.
No ectoplasm. There will be no ectoplasm. Dude, because if I wake up with any kind of ectoplasm on me, everybody on the beach is getting beat up until they arrest me. I'm going to walk up to every single person. Did you know about bang, bang, bang?
Yeah.
Or the next person until they call the cops. Dude, if I ever woke up with ectoplasm, right, buddy? No, it ain't happening. Dude, I went to a Block Island and I could hear people downstairs singing and still partying. It's like 12:30, and I get this troll blanket that the dogs sleep on, and I'm covering myself in a cocoon because I'm going to bed, dude. I'm one of those guys that like I'm going to bed. I called it a night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if anybody taps me, man, or anybody throws shaving cream on me, or any of that shit goes down, I'm gonna have to go nuclear, just like the ectoplasm shit. Like you can't let that happen, dude. Here's a story that I'm gonna tell you really quick. You tell me what your reaction was. This guy once told us that he went on this trip where the like bully of the group finished his stew, but still had some of it left. Went back and poured it in the whole vat of stew, and then walked away.
I remember that.
And me and Buddy immediately were like, "You didn't beat him up?
No, right?
You didn't throw hands? You didn't even try?" He was like, "No, we were just very offended, and we were just very." And I'm going, I don't relate to you because what do you mean? You let somebody else throw their leftover washback stew in the pot, and you don't even say a word to them?
Dude, I was at a Whole Foods one time. You know how they have those? It's like peanuts and chocolates in this little box.
Yeah.
Scott walked up there, stuck his hand in there, grabbed the whole handful, walked out, and started eating. And I was like, wow, dude. No boundaries.
All right, but as a kid though, my nana would grab the grapes and give us to him, like to give them to us. So like back in the day, we would eat grapes. Like I actually thought grapes were free as a little kid until I realized, no, you're not supposed to eat the grapes. That's kind of where I come from. So it's like weird. Like I got again. There's hypocrisies and everything. Like it's just how you grew up. It's your circumstances. It's like what you saw. Like what you think is okay, and is an everyday thing, is not the same for everybody else. It just isn't. So It's like that with everything. And you know what, man? I'm being honest. I've met people recently in the paranormal that have changed my perception on things. Like there's people that I now, I'm like, wow, all right, I'm really starting to believe this, and I'm really starting to see things. And my biggest fear has always been that, like, I don't ever want to let go and really commit to something because I'm afraid of what's in my head. I'm being dead serious. And a lot of people tell me you should really let go. You have these abilities. You should lean into it. And I'm like, no. Because I'm worried that if I ever do let go, this will all become connected. That's what I guess I'm afraid of, that it is all connected, man, because I don't know. It's like Bigfoot. Yeah. Makes sense if he were of interdimensional to me more than anything else, because the way he disappears so fast cannot be hunted. What if he's just not another version of us? What if it is all vibrations and it's just different things going on at the same time? We're all just catching different. There's so many different things that could be out there with that, and you're right about, is there evil amongst us? I think there's way more evil amongst us than people want to believe, and they're afraid to believe it. So you try to tell them that in any shape or form, they just try to block you out. But no, there's definitely right now. Buddy, can't you feel it in general? No, you don't think so?
I don't know. I'm skeptical, so I don't know what to believe, but
I do. I think that there's something. There is something. I keep wanting to say nefarious, but
I've met some of the most evil people that I believe walk the earth. So I think when I think about evil, I think about human beings that are absolutely fucking evil, and that's all. That
would be a murderer,
mythological creature who may or may not exist holds no weight with me. But things that I've seen and read documents on things that awful fucking people have done. It's just they're more evil than anyone else, I think.
You know what it is? I guess I think you're more based on like factual things, whereas I've been more open to just the energy of it. I think like the only commodity we have is energy. That's the only thing that's wanted.
Energy is great. I love energy.
But I think there's positive and negative, and I don't think the positive is the negative is just people. Like I think the negative is something beyond us. Like for us to think that we're the only negative or the high negative is very egotistical of us. Like I just get the feeling there's much more negative than us. Like, and it's trying to get us or trying to move us. That's always the weird feeling.
Maybe.
Nathaniel,
that's where I'm willing to stand.
You see what I'm saying though? Like I always feel like we're kind of more pawns than like the end all be all. We're not really.
Yeah, I think there is something out there. I mean, I've been in homes where I had one case where the wife was being visited in bed. Like she would go to bed, get up for work and stuff, and this thing would just crawl into bed. Like you could feel it moving. She said on the bed, and the husband challenged it. He challenged it the night before I arrived. I arrived the next morning to visit the family and talk to them and see what kind of documentation we got. And the husband's half of his face was hanging. And I said, what happened? He said, I challenged the entity in the middle of the night. It felt like something balled its fist up and punched me. And it gave him Bell's palsy for a season. So whatever's out there, man, I mean, it's in my research, it's worse than a serial killer. It's worse. It does have psychopathy and it does have its own ritualistic nature, but at least we can quantify a serial killer. We can imagine what they would be. This is something that has played roles so that we would never be able to imagine what it is, which is, but yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me on, man, and I'll come down, come up and hang out with you guys and we'll do whatever, man.
It's awesome to talk about either way from any perspective. It's all very fascinating.
Buddy, here's my wrap up. Ready? I'm going to ask both of you these 3 questions.
You got 3 questions, Mike. That's
this is for a shout out to Shay. I'm going to do her version of what she did, but mine are different. Mine are different. So I'm going to ask you, buddy, your favorite Michael Keaton movie.
Michael Keaton. Oh, Batman, the original for sure.
Nathaniel.
I'm going to say Multiplicity.
All right, I go with Mr. Mom.
Or Beetlejuice was.
I'd go with Mr. Mom. Mr. Mom.
That was good too.
Nathaniel, you're first. Best bad porn movie name.
Debbie Does Dallas.
I said Nathaniel first, but that's not a bad one. That's a good one.
Oh, you mean a real one or just you can pick?
No, I got one. Edward Penis Hands. You ever see it? I'm not joking. That was actually look it up. That's a porn movie. He's got a set of scissors. You know what I mean. So what do you got?
Incredible. I don't have any of them.
That's a cop out. All right, finally, favorite Michael Jackson video. Buddy, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was dying laughing so hard. What? I'm
Favorite
sorry?
Michael Jackson video.
Oh God, Thriller, dude.
All right.
Same here. It has to be.
Yeah, but no, it's bad.
Oh, fuck that.
Because no, dude, come on now. You realize that Michael Jackson pulled away from Wesley Snipes, and he's like, "Who's bad?" It's like, I quit.
Right.
Shut the video off. Like, how did we buy into that, dude? You want to talk about things we buy into we don't believe? Michael Jackson telling Wesley Snipes that he's bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think bad meant? What do you think bad meant? Because I couldn't figure it out. It didn't mean tough. It was like, what was bad? Is it a vibe? Like, what did Michael Jackson truly mean?
The dude walked backwards. I don't know.
Yes, true.
I mean, you could
No,
define
you're right, he
that.
did.
It's bad. That's
Yeah,
pretty
you're right.
bad. But then again,
No, you're right.
there's Wesley Snipes as Blade, so it's kind of like I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. You know
Yeah,
what?
he was,
No. I'll tell you what. When he moonwalked, it was like the time stood still. But
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes, for me, he's more major league. He's
Major
Willie
League,
Mays.
Yeah.
I
Willie
think
Mays,
it's Demolition Man.
run like Hayes,
Yeah,
run
yeah.
like Mays.
Oh yeah, Willie Mays
Yeah.
Hayes is my favorite character. Like the stealing the bases.
Mhm.
He would.
You may
Yeah,
run
put the
like
gloves up
Mays,
on
but
the
you
thing.
hit my shit.
All right, Nathaniel, what would you like to say to wrap it up?
Oh, nothing,
good?
man.
Promote anything like that?
Yeah, my show's on Link Project. My YouTube's on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, obviously, and then on Facebook. But yeah, man. You know, people hate. They can hate, man. I don't really care anymore.
You could embrace it.
Yeah.
You could enjoy it. No. You got to. It's part of the whole gig, man. It's you
I
need
just
both.
I hope it wasn't a friend of mine. That's what I'm worried about. You know.
No, not at all. It's someone doesn't even know you. They even know you.
Oh, who cares?
Doesn't even know you. Go into
All right, sweet.
This is a list of people that they thought, well, like, oh yeah, I heard of that, heard of this. Well, that one, yeah, but he thinks so that can't be real. I'm going, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, that's not at all what it is. It's just
appreciate it, man.
I know so many people that are just like naive to it, but they want to learn about it. But then they immediately go like, oh, that can't be. It's like, dude, if you're gonna like listen, don't start saying that can't be right off the gate, because that's not gonna be a good adventure for you.
Conversation's over at that point.
Yeah, you can't, because like I was saying, like the thing my brother Ray was saying that was weird about me is that I will change my mind. I'm somebody that if you tell me something and it makes sense, that I'm not afraid to go, all right, yeah, you're right. Because I will. I will change my mind if I've improved enough. Although that's the hardest thing to do on the internet. Change someone's
mind.
Buddy, what do you got to say to wrap up?
Oh, Nathaniel, it's always good to have you on, man. You're
Thanks,
a great
Bob.
guest the first time. You're a great guest this time. It's just you're not just demonology. You talk about all aspects of it, and I think it's absolutely fascinating.
Thanks.
Tune in next week if you liked us tonight. Tune in next week. We welcome Todd Wilcox. He's known as the Slipstream Shaman. He will take us on a journey into the quantum field as he discusses how we can learn to use our natural abilities to in quantum healing and controlling our own bodies and all that fun metaphysical stuff. If you're not into that, I highly recommend, if you're in the New England area, or at very least in Rhode Island, Mass, or Connecticut, head over to Buttonwoods Brewery. It's right over there in Cranston, Rhode Island, and it's perpendicular to Route 95. It's a nice old mill. Cool Arcade is what I'm drinking tonight.
Somebody get free beer.
It's a double IPA. It's very delicious. Tell them that Buddy sent you, and maybe you'll get a free beer. Cheers, Buttonwoods Brewery.
Can I be honest? I don't know what next week's show is about at all. Like what you just said, I got to be honest. Like maybe it's just
we'll smoke
vocabulary.
a whole bunch of weed, and then we'll hit the show, dude.
I'm just saying, like what you just said, like what he does and what he's into. I don't know. Nathaniel, were you with that whole thing? Do you understand that? Do you understand all that? Wait, does Nathaniel? Do you understand all that? What you just said, the guy does.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
And if I don't, I've learned enough to nod my head.
Yeah.
Go with it.
You're not married, huh? Are you married?
No.
I'm married. You have to nod your head.
My ex lives in Pawtucket, but I'm not married.
Pawtucket.
Poor. We always say poor.
Never mind. Yeah.
It's the bucket here in Rhode Island.
There's only one worse place in Rhode Island. There's one city that, in my opinion, shares. Was that, buddy?
Central Falls.
Oh yes.
CF, if you will.
I've heard a lot of Rhode Islanders hate that place.
You ever end up in Nathaniel? You ever end up in Central Falls? You call us immediately, and we will come and pick you up.
It's only a mile.
You don't want to be there. You don't want to
Yeah.
be there if you're in. No, you don't want to be
Unless you're
there.
into heroin, get out.
Nothing good happens in that part of the state. I don't mean this shit on certain parts of the state, but I do. You know, you
I've
don't
seen
want to
some
be there.
videos about Central Falls, man, like TikTok stuff where people just get out of the car and start fist fighting over just junk.
That's Central Falls. Yep, that's
like, what the heck is this? And it's weird because I've been in, Rhode Island's so small, so I've been in everywhere in Rhode Island. But I'm like,
It's like
dude,
a
I've never
time
been to
warp.
Central
bastard
Falls.
stepchild of Pawtucket, if you will.
It's just
Yeah.
it's like walking into a hole where they just threw chairs in it and called it a club. It's just like it's like if Rhode Island had an armpit, it might be Central.
It might be, yeah.
I'm gonna go on record as saying that. I hope a lot of people that are listening are from Central Falls, because that
Dude,
prove me I'm wrong. Because you know what, North Providence would be the hair gel, like hair top of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. We don't
Slick
mind
back.
that. All right, I'm gonna rock it out like this, buddy. But you all said what you had to say?
Yeah,
You good
I
for
said
you
everything.
free beer?
The shaman next
So give me
week.
more
The
beer next
button
week?
was this week.
I just want to make sure you get free beer.
Yeah, buddy.
No, now for Nathaniel Gillis for Buddy Money. There, it's me, Mike Leopard King, Mike Gill. This was Legit Paranormal, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. We will see you again next week. Thank you for tuning in. Buddy keeps swirling his